WWE 2K community is demanding that these features make their way into WWE 2K25. A couple of weeks ago, I put out a request to our live chat, our community, our beloved community, and asked them what they would want in WWE 2K25. You could participate in this as well. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and make sure you're there every single Tuesday when we go live. Kicking it off right now with Dap Harris. Create a show, pay-per-view, still want more than 1,000 downloadable images, mixed gender, and 2K23 backstage arena. Dap, I'm with you on this one, man. The intergender definitely has to happen. I feel like we're going to be doing an angle with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, so this is an intergender match. I would love to see the women get more love within the 2K franchise, especially when it comes to bleeding or intergender matches, or even the way their hair moves and interacts within the match. And when it comes down to create a show or pay-per-view, I feel like it's kind of needed nowadays. It's a feature that a lot of people ask about, but I've always thought it was kind of weird because we have the universe mode. But since the universe mode is not working properly nowadays, I feel like create a show or create a pay-per-view could still make some good content, especially for us YouTubers over here. We would love to make create a show a thing. As far as the backstage arena, I personally loved the 2K19 backstage arena the most because you can go through Gorilla, you can it felt like it had life, felt real. Now we just kind of go backstage and we're just stuck in the parking lot. It's kind of weird. You go from the curtain to the parking lot, and that's pretty much all we got. The first comment comes from Future Pro 2003. AKA my PWJ, we love you, bro. Says, bring back being able to slam your opponents onto weapons and the chair limb prompts. And I know this is minor, but fix the hair in creations. Add more. Also, and just something to add, I think being able to custom name a finisher and signature in movesets. I love those ideas. I've never really thought about naming the finisher or movesets. I almost want to think that they need to bring back create a finisher or even create a signature to be able to name a specific moveset. It would be kind of weird grabbing the Stone Cold Stunner and just naming it, I don't know, RKO out of nowhere, right? It would just be a little different to name somebody else's finisher that, but I guess it happens all the time, so maybe that's not such a bad idea after all. As far as slamming people onto weapons, the physics from SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, I know, I'm on my ish again. Dude, this game was great. I love the physics. I love being able to slam people onto the weapons and it actually meant something. You heard the sounds of the weapons cracking your back. You had the impact from slamming people onto ladders, being able to guide your opponent wherever you want to slam them, and you didn't have to just use the power bomb that we have in the 2K games now, or even the body slam motion. There's really only a couple limited things that you can guide your opponent and kind of carry or walk them to wherever you want to slam them. I miss just being able to do a German suplex and guide them wherever I want, onto ladders, onto tables, onto steel steps, chairs, whatever it was, and you would hear the impact of the weapon hitting. It was a phenomenal feature that it absolutely needs to be brought back. And as far as the hair in the creation, absolutely. The fact that we don't have more options nowadays, especially for all these amazing creators out there and the women creators, there needs to be more options for these characters to be made. I also feel like we need to add the hair, the attires, everything from the in-game superstars. They should be usable within the creation suite, because sometimes you want to use Lita's hair on somebody else. It looks great. As well as the limb prompts, I think you were talking about the weapon grapples. The weapon grapples 100% need to be brought back because we just don't have enough. It's nice that we do have the Van Daminator or the Russian leg sweep when it comes to Sandman. So you do have a couple of weapon grapples in there, but they are stuck to one character. I would like to see those weapon grapples make their way back into the franchise, as well as maybe put them into movesets to where you can assign whatever weapon grapple you want to whatever creative superstar or even in-game superstars. Give them custom weapon grapples so they're not always the same and you don't always feel like you're having the same match with say RVD. This next one comes from Joseph James Paul, and he says, my wish for WWE 2K25 is to fix online servers. Yeah, that's an issue, isn't it? It's a huge issue. I don't know what to say at this point. WWE 2K servers have always and probably will always be trash. I hope they fix them because I really haven't had a good online experience within the 2K franchise. Maybe I had a few good matches in 2K19, but as far as like 23, 22, I didn't really have as much fun as what I would have had in a SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Now that's an online server. Next one comes from Miracle for the win. I'm going to say... I would like to see create a pay-per-view in WWE 2K25. So there it is. There you have it. There's 2 people asking for create a pay-per-view. It's not good enough anymore to do this in universe mode, apparently. We need the mode. We need 2K, we need the mode. There's a lot of people asking about this. Now, these are probably the only 2 comments that I'm going to talk about that show this feature, but just know I get this request in my comment section all the time. It's kind of mind-blowing, but they just want to create a pay-per-view by itself. They don't need the whole Raw, SmackDown shows, NXT. They don't need to skip to the calendar to get to their pay-per-view, I guess. This is just what they just want to make a pay-per-view. Just make it happen, 2K. This next one comes from the homie Doc Holla, and man, it's a doozy. He says, okay, I'm going to try to keep this brief. Did you? Did you try to keep it brief, Doc? It's a massive list. 1, give me free roam. I want to be able to go all over the arena, even into the crowd. 2, give us access to all the assets in the game for Creation Suite. 3, more call names for cause and tag teams. 4, give us all the music library and entrances the WWE owns. 5, the ability to import the roster into every game mode. 6, fix the AI overall, but especially in universe mode, the logic makes no sense. 7, since universe mode is the ultimate sandbox, please stop having the AI putting match cards together. I really think it's the cause of the mode being broken. As far as the music library, really like that one, but I don't ever see that happening. I don't know why we haven't gotten things like the DX music. It's WWE. I got no answers for this anymore. As far as giving us access to all the assets within the game, I agree. This is something that I was talking about with the Creation Suite and in-game models. We should be able to get their attires, their hair parts. We should be able to edit their hair parts, attires. You know, Dominic Mysterio has a rad mustache right now. I would like to put that rad mustache on Dominic, but I can't, and I can't make his mullet longer because for some reason this messes with the likeness of Dominic Mysterio, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't give a shit. But either way, we can't do it. And I'd like to be able to do this in WWE 2K25. Great list, Doc. Member of the Pro Wrestling Shoot, Joe Compton, says, I want create a story and create a finisher. I also want defeat or defend the streak. They had an online scoreboard for both of them. The mode was great, man. Defeat the streak. We could possibly pull this out with Roman Reigns later on and maybe have defeat the Tribal Chief mode. I think this game is due for a new game mode of some sort besides a showcase or something like that. I feel like we need something different that keeps us hooked, keeps us engaged, gives us time to continue to play. I understand My Faction is one of those things that you could just play all year and they keep adding to, but that seems to be the only mode that they keep adding to. And the problem is the community doesn't give a shit. The community wants other modes fixed in the game, but My Faction is one of those modes that only get the love, unfortunately. So we definitely need a new game mode that just kind of hooks us in and keeps us engaged all year. If you're not really into grinding out My Faction points and grinding out cards, or if you just don't like the card game in general, and if universe mode isn't going to be that end-all be-all mode and we're not going to add anything to it every year, definitely need something else, because Showcase is a one and done. My Rise is a one and done. My GM mode is not really everybody's favorite mode to play. It's kind of weird because My GM was one of those modes that people asked for year after year after year, and then we got it and it wasn't really like it was at all. This next one comes from Jacko Too Cold, says story designer and console players being able to download PC mods is on my WWE 2K wish list. All right. Story designer. Story designer has got to return. It has got to return. Man, we can make so much banger content by downloading people's wild ass stories that they put on community creations. I'm for it, man. This alone would keep me engaged through WWE 2K all year long, because once you're done with My Rise, like I said, you're done with it. So we would have additional stories to download all throughout the year and keep this game fun and engaging. Story Designer has got to come back in some form or fashion. As far as downloading PC mods, I don't think that 2K really wants us downloading mods at all. But they give the thumbs up to what's the status, so I don't even know what is okay and what's not anymore. This next one comes from Brandon, and he says, as suggestions for WWE 2K25, I'd like to see current commentators for NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, backstage reporters such as Kathy Kelly and Jackie Redmond, alternative attires set automatically for each superstar and NXT superstars, downloadable content packs. This is great. Honestly, I would love to see updated commentators. We've had the same three for years now, right? Byron Saxton, we got Corey Graves, and we got Michael Cole. It's the same people over and over and over again. I'd love to see Pat McAfee on there. I'd love to see Shucky Ducky Quack Quack make his way into WWE 2K25. I'd like to see Wade Barrett. Give me some good news, right? I'm not going to say bad news, because it would be great news if we got Wade Barrett. Make this happen. This next one comes from Isaiah Hill. He says WWE 2K25 should bring back some Road to WrestleMania features to incorporate into My Rise for WWE 2K25 next year. Great idea. Or we could just, hire Justin Leeper to make us a new Road to WrestleMania. Yeah, that's an idea. Get rid of Showcase. Out the door. See you later. Next one from EPW Show, Everything Pro Wrestling. Conrad says, I would like to see WWE games have a superstars model in the game with multiple options for that model, like those in NFL and NBA games for changing jerseys, helmets, and shoes. For example, you could have The Undertaker and cycle through his different hairstyles that he's had throughout his career, similar to seeing the gray gloves, purple gloves, and biker gloves. This would apply to all alternate parts, and if you have people who are worried about his movesets, preload the moveset like they do in other games with playbooks. Undertaker O2 moveset. This is fantastic. Conrad is a hidden gem within this community, and he has great ideas. Guys, go and check out Everything Pro Wrestling on their channel. Having multiple models throughout the game be in the superstars lineup, it is weird to me. I've never understood why we can't just cycle through their alternate attires and hairstyles and things like that. Just looks in general. I think it may have something to do with the entrances, because they would have different entrances tied to them. I don't know how that would work, or if we could tie multiple entrances to one person, just one slot on the roster. But I would like to see this happen. I don't know if it could probably save some space, maybe give us more cost slots. Who knows? Let's make this happen. We used to have it back in SmackDown vs. Raw days. Always going back to SmackDown vs. Raw. The GOATs. MJB says 2K25 should include a plethora of weapons like thumbtacks and possibly environmental weapons and moves, suplexes from the top turnbuckle to the outside of the ring, free roam around the backstage and arena, more backstage areas, possibly a outdoor area. I love this. I love this because the plethora of weapons was talked about on one of my previous videos, as well as thumbtacks. These are the things that I would love to see in WWE 2K25, as well as a free roaming backstage. We've already discussed this on this video. Needs to happen. We need more options when it comes to that backstage, because it does not feel like it has any life whatsoever. The homie JCSJ says, I just need a more in-depth selling system, real rope break animations, and weapon/environmental interactions on the same level as SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Cube says, my list would be create a story. I know it can't happen due to copyright and all that nonsense, but bring back custom music. I think they need to fix the create an entrance. The lighting especially is off. Create a finisher if done right. Less restrictions on weapons. Just combine My Rise and the story mode into one. My Rise in the story mode. Interesting. I've heard the universe and story mode combined into one, but not My Rise. That's... never really thought of that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think should be added into WWE 2K25. And if you want to be a part of the next one, then subscribe to the channel and come into our lives where we discuss all this stuff all the time. WWE 2K25. It's going to be happening until the game comes out. Yeah.